everyone, it's me, Rebecca, the colorful book nester here at Rivercrest Cottage, and we are coloring yet another picture, but this time I'm in Color My Sketchbook number 2 by Bennett Klein. So as part of some of our color alongs that are going on this year, one of them is Crash Your Stash, and there's various Color Your Hoards, color alongs or challenges as I like to call them. And it's really got me focused on what I have on my shelves, and also I've got plenty to choose from, so I don't need to be buying anything new, that's for sure. So I bought this book years and years ago. It's probably one of my first purchases when I really started getting into coloring, and I haven't done a whole lot in it. It's intimidating. It has a grayscale. I'm trying to get used to that, and I think it just screams for markers, which is another challenge. So, you know, why not challenge yourself? So what I'm doing is at this page, let's see if I can open it. Right here, there she is. So she is a beautiful fairy. Now she covers a lot of color longs that I'm trying to follow. One of them is Color Carnival, which has to have a mask. She has that. It goes with February because it's got Fae and Fairy. Fantastical February. I mean, there's just tons of them. In fact, you know, as we go along, I'll probably be talking about them. But there's so many color longs, and of course, Color My Stash and Color My Hoard. So, and like I said, they just really scream for markers as a base. I have some Copics. I don't have a huge amount. I bought a few individual group or little packets of them here and there and picked up a few looking for like the perfect blue, the perfect yellow, things like that. But what I'm going to be doing today is I kind of have a plan that I want this pretty dark. And one thing I like about markers is they're great to encourage dark, if that makes sense. So say hello to editing, Rebecca. In hindsight, I didn't really color this in the right order. I should have just started with backgrounds because we all know that is my go-to, and I don't know why I didn't, but I did. I started coloring the feathers. What I'm going to do is this portion you're seeing right now in very fast motion is going to be a part of when I explain how I'm doing the feathers for the mask or for the head. The crown, I guess. So, or the headpiece. So, yeah, whenever I was doing this, I videoed this thinking, oh, I'll do the feathers first, but I should have known myself and that we should always start, Rebecca, with the backgrounds. Just start with the backgrounds. So, but I didn't want you to see, like, all of a sudden, boom, she's got a blue head. So, we will come back into it right as I'm finished up with this, and then I'm going to proceed on with the background. I really love using stencils when I can, and one of the best things I like about this particular stencil is that, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, here we go, I'll just do it right, oh, there you go. It has the graduated circles, the graduated squares, hexagons, maybe? Know your geometric shapes, Rebecca, and triangles. Yeah, I knew that one. And I think that those are great. So what I'm going to do is I am planning on doing this background kind of in this highlighted, but because I have the graduated circles, I can kind of choose the size of those circles that maybe I want to make for the bokeh. So what I'm going to do, so let's see, I think those are too big. Yeah, we're going to get into really small ones here. Now I want to be really careful. All I want to do is draw around the circle. So just around the edge. I'm not going to color in. And I'm going to put a couple of these in different spots. And what I like is that then I could even do smaller ones if I wanted to. So let's do a little tiny one there. Just a little one. They'll just have that little bit. I have to be really careful because it's hard. These are those brush tips, and you can see. All right. So you can see that I've put these little tiny circles. Oh, not really. The little tiny circles around, and then I need to color around those. So I'm going to probably put like one or two more up here. And then I might even do something like that. So there's two right next to each other. There we go. Let's see, any other ones? Because you have to put them in before you start your coloring. As you'll see, I'll have to go around the colors. Actually, we'll put one kind of behind her head. Just a little bit. Okay. So you need to put your little, if you're going to put little, you're trying to have that relief of white. So now, and this might help because now I'm going to go ahead, as I go into color with my marker, I will just go ahead. Have to be a little bit more careful, but luckily with this really pointy brush tip, you can get in there. I'm going to come up to the edge. Now remember how they blend, and that's what's kind of nice with these. With these markers. Now I have no suggestions about any other brands. I have a few Prisma colors. I think I have a few. I can't remember the other name. Maybe Winsor Newton ones that I've picked up here and there. I will say I do like the Copics a lot. All right. So can you see how I've left that? So though I drew a circle, now my circle, the little white is going to be seen through it. So it takes a little planning because I have to do it ahead of time. Try not to go back over that circle too much because, I mean, it will change the coloring around it a little bit, but that's okay as far as it'll make it a little bit darker, because you can do some layering with Copics. These lighter colors don't get as dark with the multiple layers, but other one, you know, you can make it a darker color. All right, so you can see right over here, those little, what will probably be kind of a sparkly kind of look is standing out now. So we're going to go over onto this side and do the same thing. Now this one, he was a little too small. I probably shouldn't have bothered, but we're going to try and leave him and see if he'll be enough that I can see him. He might just turn into like a little sparkle with Posca or something. Now the other thing I'm trying not to do, of course, is get into her skin or anything else, because the colors will start kind of mixing or mingling or add a shadow and change that up. So, you know, you do need to still be careful when using these markers, and that's why I like that brush nib, you know, because I can get into there so detailed. They're pretty comfortable to hold as well. They are oblong and they kind of almost have a flat feel when your hands are on them instead of the regular round. And then of course they don't roll around on the desk, which is nice. There we go. So you're going to see just a little bit of that white peeking through, so it'll allow for lighter and lighter. Now as I go along, I can add more circles, making them slightly darker behind them if I want to, but for now at least the lightest ones have been put in. And then what I'm going to do for now is I'm going to go ahead and finish out all the way around, you know, and just kind of put this base color, because I'm not sure where I'm going because it's already changed again, but I think I want at least that base color kind of going throughout. So we'll have to see. I don't know that yeah, okay. So I'm going to go and do that. I'm not going to make you watch, but I will bring you back whenever I'm done with all of the green around, and that will be the basis for a lot of what we're going to do. I then need to make some other decisions, and hopefully I'll bring you along for that as well. All right, here I go. All right, so I've gotten most of the background, as you can see, done. I really like the gradients and how it's kind of glowing at this point. Remember, we're just kind of going in and doing all the highlighting underneath at this point, but I still had one little corner, and what I wanted to show you is that if you notice over here, the corners get gradually, and down here, a little bit darker. And that's because I'm putting some grays underneath it, so that it almost looks like it's going to be glowing behind her. And the more I can do with the markers or with the Copics, the better in my mind, because that's less I have to come back in and try to blend and everything else. And that's the whole point of doing markers, to try to do something maybe a little bit quicker, you know, not having to go in and do all the base, the base work. So I wanted to go ahead and bring you along and just show you how I do this up here, and we'll just finish out this little corner. I would have done this all at one time. It's funny, this is quite a few days later, but I actually ran out of my BG11, which is the Moon White, and that's what I'm using to color in here. So I wasn't able to do it. Now I am doing a little bit of, I kind of want kind of an antique-y feel about this. This picture's reminding me of some of the Art Deco work, 1920s kind of stuff, and I kind of want that going forward. So some of the muted kind of bringing in that dingy gray, even though it's already grayscale, which I think it works well with this picture because it is grayscale and the type of paper it is. But I wanted to add a little bit more, again, to give kind of that feel of maybe some type of a glow around her or behind her. So let me go ahead and bring you into the top here. I'm going to move that over, and then we're going to bring you down. There we go. There we go. And I'll basically, and then of course we need to get you focused. All right. All right, we'll get going in a moment. Okay, so what I wanted to show you that I start out doing is I come in with the W1, there we go, warm gray #1, and I'm warming it up. This is very cool colors, but I like that kind of little bit warmer in the corners, and it is a little bit darker than my next two grays, which will be a more of a, they'll be cool grays. So I'm just going to go in and do all these behind. Now I am thinking of this as possibly a gold frame, though I think what I'm going to do is do the frame last, which a lot of times I don't do. I kind of just go to it because I like doing gold, and I like framing out the work. But I think I'm going to do it last because I really want to see if that's what I want to do on the outside, if I really do want the gold. Which again, I don't know, I'm getting kind of an Art Deco kind of feel, maybe, or Art Nouveau type of feel. So those are always kind of usually done more in the gold. So we'll have to see. Brought it out, and now I'm going to leave it. Oh, I'm going to do just a little bit in here, because now I'm going to bring in the next color, gray. Just want a hint of those corners being a little bit darker. And the next one that I'm going to bring in is cool gray, because this starts bringing in kind of those blue tones a little bit. And I'm going to go back over a lot of this, just because I like the mix of these two. And you'll see why, because in a moment I'm going to go to more to even a cooler one, and I'm not going to layer it. So this is one of the benefits. And you know what? Yeah, woo! Somebody needs to put some underneath her paper. There we go. Whoops, that could have been a mistake. Luckily it didn't bled through on the back of this piece of paper, but not onto the next picture, which is good. Now, something you guys probably start noticing is I have something over my thumb. In the winter, I get really bad dry and cracked skin around my thumbs, and so I wear these little cots every once in a while to hopefully help them heal, but it's just really hard up here in the winter, especially whenever I'm outside. And I'm outside whenever I can be. Not that that's really easy. We had a big, huge snow dump, as most of the Northeast did, including New York. Congratulations on your, what, 2 feet of snow? Something insane like that. Wow, this is really bleeding. Oh, something's going wrong here. Hold on. Well, while that was a little frustrating, it's always good to kind of show you. I don't know if you guys noticed, but it started really, like, the ink just started pouring out. So I got to kind of watch it here. I have had that happen with a black Copic, where it's like the ink just starts coming out of these pens, and I'm not quite sure why it does that. But you can see it bled all over. So it's going to make for an interesting corner. A little frustrating. Because that means whatever color I do decide, it's going to be hard to get it to cover up those grays. But you know, sometimes that happens. But yeah, so be careful and be watchful. I noticed, I was like, holy cow, this stuff is just really flowing. And that's one of the things that's nice about a Copic is normally the inks do flow, but I need it in a controlled manner. Not just, you know, going all over the place. Luckily it was that corner and didn't destroy any of the main part of the picture, because you can hide corners if you need to. Alright, so this is where, okay, so I've got over all the gray so far that I already had down. And now I'm going to take it, just this cool gray, and start kind of bringing it out. Just a little. And then I'm going to just kind of flick it, just to kind of, because that's kind of one of the ways to blend your Copics out a little bit. I'm going to flick it just a little bit. We're going to put just a little bit in here. Oop. Yeah, so you got to be careful. Oop. There we go. All right, and then now I'm going to bring in my last cool, which this one is C1. So this is the cool gray number 1. We're going to bring it out just a little bit more and kind of blend it a little bit. So now I'm going to come in with my brand new BG11 and finish this all out. Now, I like going, and this is the thing with Copic, because you never really know what the color's going to look like until it dries. You know, these grays look pretty intense, but the colors do blend pretty well, even on this, and Bennett Klein paper's not, you know, it's not the nicest. I like that it has some tooth, and I think it does lend well to his artwork again. And I think it causes, you know, the gray, his gray tones to work really well. And so I'm not complaining. It's just it's a different type of. It's not a copy paper, or I'm sorry, it's not a marker type of paper. So they do blend, but it's a very thirsty paper. Number one, so they don't sit on top and they don't mix that much, but they layer pretty nicely. So now I'm going to take this and go all the way back in over everything, and then you're going to see there's a little bit of that shadow, and then we're going to let it dry and see if I need to come in and do anything more after it dries. But for now we're just putting it, I do want them to blend a little bit, that smudgy dirty look. Isn't that lovely? Such a beautiful picture. I'm trying to get a smudgy, dirty look. I just want kind of that, again, that Art Nouveau kind of feel. I hope you're enjoying this. This is an interesting way to be able to use the Copics, and I'm really happy with how they're working in this Bennett Klein book. All right, okay. All right, well, as you can see, we are back, and you might see some changes. I've been working steadily on the feathers here. I am hoping to show you that the way that I'm doing them, if you're interested in kind of having a blue, shiny, blue-black feather, and the idea is the entire part will be done. So I just have this last little part. But probably the biggest thing that you might have also noticed, if I go out just a little bit, oops, sorry about that, my hand's in the way, making sure you're still, is the background. So if you look on this side, you can see that it's kind of gone green, and over here is the blue, which would have been the last that you would have seen. And as I was going and doing it, I just really wanted more of like a glow, and like I said, I'm kind of going for that old feel, and green just always seems to be something that I noticed that they use a lot in those more the retro, and I wasn't getting quite the color that I wanted just in the blue here. So I've introduced 4 more colors, and I was going to show you how I'm doing the background. This one, which is my itty bitty, it's a 915, and I don't know the name. I should know the name by now, but of course it'll be here on the screen for you. And then the next one is Line Peel, that's PC1005. And then I am kind of toggling also between Light Aqua, which is PC992, and the Muted Turquoise, which is PC1088. So I'm going between those to make this background, and I thought I would show you the layers that I'm doing, and then I'm going to do one more step with you as well, get the background done, and then I will be focusing more on the feathers around the crown here. Really enjoying this one. I haven't done Bennett Klein in a long time, and then the paper is reacting a little bit different than what I'm used to. So, you know, getting used to them again. It's kind of like meeting old friends and figuring out what you talked about before, and you know, bringing everybody up to date. That's what it feels like. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'll bring you in and start showing you what I'm doing. Alright, so here we go, and what I was really wanting to try to create was kind of this glow feel here, and I just didn't feel like it was glowing enough over on this side. It might have been once I got everything else colored and really started coming back in, but I do like this green. So the first thing that I'm showing you is here. You might notice there is a little bit of yellow. Let me go ahead and bring you in, see if I can get you any closer. Make sure you're clear. So probably the first thing I try to do is always put my yellow down to mark where I want kind of a glow, and there's even a glow here on the hands. Now I've not colored the hands or any of that, but I do like to put the yellow down first, because even with what I put on after this, once I start coloring the hands, they should have a slight different appearance than the rest of it. So I'm just following kind of these shadows along the edges that are already there to kind of give a little bit of a yellow glow. I'm coming down on the neck, and then I am also kind of, the idea being the glow is kind of coming almost from the hands, was kind of the inspiration. So we're going to do that. Like it's coming from the palms of our hands. So it wouldn't be on this back side here necessarily all the way, but maybe right along the top. Now, the next step that I'm going to do is just come in over this blue, and I want you to see what it does. So even though it looks like I'm just covering over the blue is still tainting this yellow. So as you can tell, hopefully, is there's a difference between this part of yellow and this one and there, and it kind of just immediately lifts. And so I'm really liking the color combination. Now I don't want to lose my little circles that I've already got there, my little almost bokeh, because the idea is I think I'm going to have some sparkles coming out of here. I'm just going around them. I'm not coloring them right yet. You might notice over here how it's white. I'm not coloring over those quite yet, largely because I'm not sure if I'm going to come in with other color or if I'm going to leave it white or as white as the background. So as you can see how that already matches. But I really feel that if I hadn't done the blue, so I don't think it's a waste. I never think it's a waste. You know me, I'm layers anyways. I think this would have had a very different look. And I don't have to worry about covering up the white because the white in essence is already covered up with the blue Copic marker that I used. Because the paper is rough, the pigment coming off of these Prismas is really quite strong, which is great. Still going to go up here a little bit and around this one. Again, not coloring in, but around. And this is where I'm going to need to come in and start introducing the green. So I'm going to take you back out just a hair, so that you can see how we're going to need to transfer. I mean, that's kind of a pretty glow in there as it is, but this is where I bring in the line peel, and I come in from up here and just, it's very light. This is all very light. I do want to build layers, but for right now I'm just doing it kind of like because I want the blending to happen. It's not, no, we're not blending per se by, you know, really pushing color into one another, but I want to really slowly bring in that a little bit, and I bring it back down, and blending occurs by bringing the one color into the other color, and then you'll see what I do after I get this. So just to kind of keep that blend. Now, because I've put these little dots here, it almost gives it a logical spot where that blend's going to happen. Now I'm going to take my yellow that I was just using, the 915, and bring it up into the green that I just did. And that's how you start making a kind of more of a gradient blend. You back it back into there. And bring back in the lime peel. So the lime peel, you're going to see, is going to go all the way up into here, and it changes that blue. Now you can see it's kind of messy, and that's the other thing. I didn't like how those grays, remember where I had that one marker just kind of explode? Well, it really ended up making a mess, so I'm hoping I can, you know, dull that down and make it not so murky looking. It looks dirty, but it's because of that gray that just kind of exploded. And that happens every once in a while with Copics, I've noticed. But it may be too that maybe I was getting refurbished Copics for all I know. I can't remember where I bought some of those, but I remember I had one that seemed to dry out much quicker than the others, and it made me wonder. And I think I just had bought it, you know, through like Amazon and not through Copics or not through an actual art store. So I don't know. They could have been overfilled. I know the black one kind of did it one time, and then this gray one, but it might be something else to kind of watch out with Copics, because, you know, you can refill them, so I don't know. But I'm hoping to kind of eventually mask out that dirty over gray area up here. I don't know that I'll be able to, but we're going to try. So we're just going to do the green, and then also over here I wanted to kind of show you. So this is just the yellow. So, and then it comes up, and then slowly I'll add the green over here and then bring the yellow. That's how I'll blend that. In fact, let me go ahead and work on the spot right here just so you guys can see that blend again. I'm going to bring down the green a little bit into the yellow, just a little bit, just to kind of, and then finish this out with the green. that yellow. And I'm going to back it back into that yellow a little bit. We're going to go down here and then start bringing it back up here. And now I'm going to start introducing a little bit more. This kind of makes it more vivid green yellow color, and I'm going to come in with that light aqua. I always like starting in the corners where it's darkest so that you don't, if I don't like the color combination, or it gives me a moment to allow me to get the weight of the color, how much, how, you know, pressure, everything, get that set up before I get into the really bright areas where you could see a mistake of maybe coloring too hard or not quite being familiar with the pencil that I'm using, because this is a little bit, you know, this could be pretty strong color. So I want to introduce it lightly. And I'm lightening up my pressure even as I come into here where the green and yellow already are, just a little bit. Now what I'm doing is I just keep building layers. I kind of keep wanting to reintroduce the green in between the blues, and then I will end up using the yellow over everything. That kind of ends up almost like a blender. A lot of times that's what I do, as you will also find out here with the feathers. I like using a lighter color to act as my final layer of kind of blending. Just because it kind of brings a uniformity of color over everything, and I'm not going to use white as my blender, and I've never really liked those Prismacolor blender pencils, but it might be because I never put down enough layers to begin with. I mean, I'm learning that a lot of Prismas, they blend using each other. So like in this case, using that Prismacolor yellow. I want to fade this in a little bit more, get a little bit, it's a little bit of a pretty big jump, the yellow, but you'll see, hopefully I can get it all blended with the yellow. All right, so come down here. So one color that I've not used yet is the muted turquoise. I'm just going to do it up here in these corners a little bit, just to kind of bring a bluey color to this green. It's not incredibly vibrant, therefore that's why it's called muted. So I like the way it looks. I think it's funny, I was just watching one of Jen's Reading with Pugs videos. It was one of her first vlogs. She hasn't vlogged in so long, and I'm so happy to see her back. And I love seeing Snowy and EJ and all them. But she was saying how she hates backgrounds, and I'm all like, oh, maybe we should just switch books. I'll do all the backgrounds in all my books, send it to you, and then you can finish out the rest of the page. I have a tendency to really, for some reason, enjoy this process. I think it's because once I get going, even though I have 4 colors here, the decision processes alleviate for me. So when you have, like in Johanna Basford books that have so many different elements, I'm constantly having to think, what am I going to do with that element? What am I going to do with that element? With books with big backgrounds, or where I can kind of relax my mind and just do a background, I really I mean, I hate to say it, but I think that's why I like backgrounds, because I don't like making all those little micro decisions about every little thing. I mean, like I'm already even, you know, trying to figure out what am I going to do with this diamond, what are the colors all I'm going to put in it, that type of thing. I really see it as a diamond for some reason. I don't know why. But so we've got that going. Now I'm going to go one more time with this huge yellow, and I want to do it over everything that we've already done, and that means starting all the way down here again. So I'm going to bring you out just for you to, and we'll just film this little set. This is, now the only place that I haven't done is down here, and I'll do that later, but I just wanted to show you and bring this all, the final round of yellow. Let's make sure that I've got you in focus. Oh, I need to clean my glasses. A lot of good it does to get you in focus. All right, we're going to back you out, pull you over. All right, here we go. All I am doing, which you can't see already. Why can't I get this all in? All right. All I am doing is going back over everything one more time with this yellow 915. I'm even going to deepen some of this just so that I know it's on there. Being careful of those little circles because I don't want to color them in yet. And now I'm really putting down, you know, trying to get it, that extra layer in there. Because I'm hoping that it can start kind of acting almost as a blender of sorts. But because I started with that blue background, you know, it's almost like when people work on these and they have like that brown paper, the tone paper, the gray or the brown tan toned paper. And then they don't have to worry about the white peeking through. That's what I've kind of done with the blue. With it, putting those markers, it really minimizes me having to worry about the white. And so the saturation of the color seems to appear, I don't know if it is, to be darker, to be more solid, and you don't get the white through it as much. Walking this all back over it, again trying to get kind of that feeling that it's just different variants, there's just different light. All these colors are here, even here there should be some of this illusion of this darker green. It's just there's so much light coming from her that she's kind of dispersing that green. And I'm just walking it back over here because a lot of times I just do that to make myself feel that I am helping the whole thing blend. There we go. So I'm going to do this final corner and then we'll come back and show you the finished product. But I'm going to jump down and do that final corner, and then I think there's one more step we might be doing, just one. All right. So I said that once I got this done that I would bring you back and kind of show you that one last step. And the one last step is I want to go ahead and make this even smoother, and because I can still see, you know, grains in the, and I'm going to call it grains, I don't know, striations, texture, whatever you want to call it, within my layers. And part of that is because of the paper. But as usual, you know me, I love my Gamsol. So I've just gotten some, and because I'm sorry, Prismas are so wonderful and so easy to blend. I'm going to bring you in really close first. Trying to see where you're at the clearest. There we go. To just kind of see it blends beautifully. And I'm going to start blending these colors all together here. And I just want that more solid background. And it is literally, as you can see, I keep it on a little cotton ball. I get the tip of my brush, and I love this. This brush allows me to get into some of those crevices because it's got a really nice pointed. But even if I get some, as you see, on the part that's aren't colored, that'll just dry. It doesn't do anything completely, and it'll be ready to go whenever I'm ready to color my frame of this picture. But we're just going to kind of get everything mixed together. Now, there's a reason it doesn't all, just turn into the same color, and that's because of the amount of layers that we've put down as we've gone along, and the order and which colors we've left out. So it's just about kind of blending those together. This is the easiest blending method I know. I'm going to come down here and do this as well. And again, you see on the back of the paper here, it's wet, but that will all dry, and it doesn't change the texture of your paper. This stuff it's basically mineral spirits. This one's odorless, but it's a brand called Gamsol, so you can do it with mineral spirits as well. And I just find this a very easy way. I was a little nervous. I wasn't sure if it would react with the Copics, but it doesn't, because the Copics have been dry for a long time. So I'm going to go through and just do this whole page with the Gamsol and get all of those colors kind of mixed. But that's the next and final step for this background. But before I go any further, you know what, I thought I would go ahead and I want to show you, what is this background? What has been the inspiration? I probably should have shown this to you a long time ago. I keep mentioning the Art Deco. I kind of mentioned, our Art Nouveau periods, but let me just go out and I'm going to look really quick to see, and hopefully I can find a picture of what I'm imagining and what's kind of the impetus behind this background for me.
So as you can see, what I'm looking at is those greens and those gradients, and everything kind of it's vibrant, but yet, I don't know, it's not neon vibrant. But everything is deep and the colors are very lush. So these are the colors I'm kind of going to. They're somewhat muted while still being incredibly, incredibly intense and vibrant. Well, so there she is. Now she's far from finished, but I thought you'd want to see the entire picture once we've done the Gamsol. I'm really excited about the background of this picture. I'm very intimidated by the rest of this picture. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you'll give Gamsol a try, definitely the layering. And even though you can't see the Copic that I started out with, I really think that it toned the paper to really help with this look. And I didn't have to do as many layers. I know it was a lot, but I didn't have to do as many. So, and for me, that's always a plus because though I love doing my layers, it does take a lot of time. I am going to go ahead and finish out this picture, and I've already done some recording on how I did the wings. So if you're interested in that, I was kind of going for a mother of pearl look. They're not standing out as much as I would like right now, but I think it's because the rest of the picture is not colored. So I need to get that done. And the other part that I was going to do, like I said, was the black feathers in the top. So if you're interested in that, let me know as well. And there might be 2 more videos coming out. And of course, there will be at some point showing you what the finished picture looks like. So I will definitely share that, whether it's on a cottage and chat or a kind of catch up type thing, or if it is through these 2 more videos, one being either the wings and or the feathers on the crown there, or the headpiece. So thank you so much for joining in, and thank you so much for giving me so much time and checking out what I've been doing here at Rivercrest Cottage. And as I always say, keep coloring those pages. Bye for now.